Welcome back to Retirement News Online. One of the great things about the 401k retirement savings plan is that it is portable when you leave your job in most cases. The big question is, what should you do with it then? One of the options is to, of course, roll it over into an IRA, but you do need to consider all your other options. Here to talk about this is my guest, Ray Stein with APO Financial in Colorado. Ray, thanks for joining us today. I guess the obvious question is it important to move the money or just keep it in the plan?
Hi Scott, great to be back here, and that is a question that is facing a lot of those reaching retirement today, even if you're trying to retire early. And I like to go back to the history of retirement planning actually. Really early in the 90s, retirement planning was focused around what a lot of people don't have today, primarily pensions. 17% and dropping of Americans today have pension plans, but a lot of people don't know that Social Security, other plans were designed in conjunction with pension plans. Now, 401ks were developed in the late 70s, put into place in the early 80s to replace the pensions because companies didn't want that risk. So what we've ended up with today is most people have these large 401k plans where they've been saving, and the original design was always to turn that into income. However, there are no mechanisms really in 401ks to turn that into income similar to a pension. So with 401k plans, we are fans of rolling those over for several reasons. Now, number one, you want to make sure you are 59 and a half to avoid the penalty. There's an extra penalty if you do roll over, unless you're age 55 or older and have left work. Now, the reasons to move out of a 401k plan to an IRA is primarily the choices in 401k plans have been limited and limited over time. We're believers in tactical approach, not buy and hold. So get into investments during good times, out during bad. Most 401ks, you just can't do that because they've removed a lot of those options. They want people to stay invested during the good and the bad times, so they go through those losses. With an IRA, you've got more options. Second, the fees are generally lower because 401ks, larger plans have large administration costs. So you can avoid those most of the time, same or very similar investments in an IRA account. So two primary reasons to leave them.
For the rollover, do you recommend a traditional or a Roth IRA?
Scott, that's a great question, and we get this a lot from our clients or those we're talking to about retirement planning. Because you do have options, people need to understand that it's not just a one-cut scenario. It depends on your situation, and primarily the third step to our plan focusing on taxes. A Roth account grows tax-free, which sounds great. The traditional IRA grows tax-deferred, meaning when you pull that money out, it is taxable at your then income rate. So why not go all into a Roth? Well, the reason is when you go into a Roth, you have to pay tax that year. So you have to be very careful about that, and you want to plan that over a multi-year period, depending on if you're still working, what your other income sources are, and how much time you have until the RMDs, required minimum distributions, come out of your IRA account. So we have to take that into consideration, plan that over a multi-year period, because a lot of people don't know, but Social Security can be taxed, and then your Medicare premiums for Part B and D can go up as well if you do too much Rothing in too few years.
Why is it not a good idea just to take the cash distribution?
You know, it generally is a terrible idea. And the reason, of course, if you're under 59 and a half, there's an additional penalty, but you lose that compounding on your investments over time. So if you just take that cash out, you get taxed on it, number one, added to your taxable income that year, but you also lost out on those years in the future of future compounding on that part, especially if it's not reinvested in a strategic plan for you. So you're losing a lot of future years, so you're gaining a little today, but you're losing a lot in the future.
Ray, thanks again.
Thanks, Scott. The pleasure was all mine.
That was Ray Stein with APO Financial in Colorado, and you're watching Retirement News Online.